Hi, I'm Jeanette Keynes. I'm an instructor here at the Jewelry Arts Institute, and I'm here for About.com. Today, I'm going to show you how to make these very simple, organic, yet truly fantastic silver rings. We're going to need a few basic jewelry tools. To start our ring, what I'm going to do is first I'm just going to use my ring mandrel and figure out what size I want my ring to be. I'm going to say, let's say a size 7. I can just use my template and find the circle that matches the size 7. I can put it directly down on the charcoal block and use my scriber just to mark the line, just like that. Basically what we're doing is we're creating a little funnel, basically a little simple mold to melt all of the metal into. I'm then going to take a larger circle to be my outside edge, and this is not something that is a real science. As you're going along, if you feel you need to make changes, you can always carve out a little bit more. And draw a circle. I'm just creating my little channel. I'm just going to use the nice rounded end of my tweezers, and I'm going to carve that little trough out. Basically, this is what you end up with. It's really just a little ring-shaped trough that we're going to melt our silver in. I'm going to start putting my silver in there. I'm just going to use my tweezers. And you know, this is the kind of process where you're going to really experiment, because you may do one and say, oh, you know, it's a little too thick, I need to adjust it. That's the great thing about using the charcoal block, is that you can keep carving and keep experimenting, and no two rings that you make this way, even if you were to use the same trough, are going to be the same. You can also use a fine silver sheet, by the way, and just cut it up. It doesn't have to be cast and grain. Whenever you're going to melt metal in your charcoal block, always stand up so that if anything should happen, you could get out of the way of your molten metal. I'm going to light up my torch. I have my bowl of water and my high-tech implement, my chopstick, kept nice and wet in case I need to move any of the metal around, because you'll find that as the metal starts to melt, it wants to just kind of ball up in one clump. You see how it wants to pull away? So then I could just use my little chopstick to kind of draw it back out a little bit. You may have to pull the flame away at moments because, like I said, as it gets so hot, it tends to ball up on itself. But that is our first ring. The charcoal block will continue to smolder. So what I usually do is I sprinkle a little water on it. It makes sure that your charcoal block is no longer smoldering and won't pose any kind of a safety risk. I've let my ring cool a little bit. I'm going to also dip it in the water just to make certain. I'm going to dry it off. It's important to work with your metal dry, because when you then go to your tools, you don't want your tools to rust. We're going to slide it on the mandrel. Now, no matter, even though we set this hole up to be a size 7 in the beginning, because of the irregularity of it, it's always going to be much smaller. But that's perfect for us, because we're going to put it on the mandrel and we're going to hammer it with a leather mallet until it's relatively round so that it's comfortable to wear on the inside, and that way we'll reach the size that we want. I think it's about a size 4 at this point, so we're going to stop and anneal. Annealing just makes the metal softer. Very simple method. Sharpie. Take it, put a little squiggle mark on what you're going to anneal. And when you anneal, you want to just use a soft flame, and I'm just going to watch it, and when that line disappears, I know that my metal is perfectly annealed. So I'm going to set it on my steel block for a minute, and then I'm going to dunk it in the water to completely cool it off. I'm going to dry it off and go back to hammering. Once your ring is the right size, you really want to check and see if it's soft and comfortable. What you might want to do is, if you have access to a microtorque or a flexible shaft, we can use one of these blue silicone wheels. You can do the job just as well with some sandpaper and your hands. Some people prefer a more shiny finish, some people like something a little more matte. Thanks for watching, and to learn more, visit us on the web at About.com.